It is time for us to place the garage. Now, the reason I haven't placed the garage yet is we were waiting on parts and I didn't want to place it and then bring it out and then put it back. It would have been a hassle, but now the parts have come. Everything is fully finished. So let's go ahead and place it in the area that it needs to be in. Let's make sure it's a little off here. Okay, perfect. Camera lady, if you can get a close up. I think it came out great. Obviously the math. All right, had to come in and actually correct what we had videotaped before. I didn't quite catch it, but now I clearly saw it when I went to go and take some B-roll. I was actually off by a brick all the way around to here. I was good on this side, but I was actually bad on this side. Now the pillars were totally fine. So I'm going to go ahead and add a brick to this, which should go ahead and correct that because there was a little bit of a gap. But I'm also going to go ahead and fix the front. I'll put a picture right here of what that looks like. It doesn't meet all the way to where the cars are coming in, and that just doesn't look right at all. So I'm going to go ahead and build that up so it meets right up against the road. And then I'm actually thinking about building another gray wall over here. I know it's going to be kind of a waste of bricks, but if I can build it behind here and connect to the front of here, that may add to a little bit of the stability and then also give us an option of adding something later on down the road. So that's what I'm going to do next. So let's get to that. Okay, after adding the brick to this side, because it was one brick in difference from the opposite, I went ahead and just went down the rabbit hole. Now, originally I had a plan that I wanted to go back to this build and add a cross member here that would allow us to put a sign indicating that this is the parking, this is the entrance. But since I was going to go ahead and add a brick here, I just went ahead and just did it. But on top of that, I made this base plate even more structurally sound by including this piece here that ties into both sides. And then we went ahead and just bricked up the rest of this, added the wall up here to then clamp all of this down so it all becomes one big part of the build. Now I put gray brick down here so that you can't see any colorful brick while looking through the front because that's where the slide door is and all of that good stuff. And then I went ahead and used colored brick up here because it really doesn't matter. And everything is now confined and like structurally built well. Like I can pick this thing up and nothing comes apart, which is really good. So yes, went down the rabbit hole, but we got it working. So now that this is correct and it's actually fixed and the maths is mathing, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, now we can see from the new B-roll, everything is the way it's supposed to be. That extra brick helped to cover up the brickwork that was being done to the stairs, so you can't see any of that inner working anymore. And then also we built it out all the way to the door, so now it kind of matches the way it's supposed to match up against that door frame. And then also on top of that, adding that cross member and tying both sides together added a ton of stability for the build overall. So yes, very happy that we went ahead and just bit the bullet and changed everything like it was supposed to be changed. And now super proud of this build. So yeah. Me personally, love the shot. I think it looks great. You can see inside, you can see people moving around. 10 out of 10 shot. So hey, that'll work.
So, as Jose had previously mentioned, we finally got our parts in. And when I say finally, we finally got our standard parts in. And if you guys can recall, we're waiting for these kind of like metallic cupcake tops so that we could add it to our actual retaining wall. I know it's very subtle, but we thought it was pretty cool. It's just a nice slight change in the color of the retaining wall, and I think it just adds a little bit more depth. Couple of other things that I have been working on. So obviously, at the very base of the staircase that leads down from our upper level, we had all of these base plates that are open. So I kind of started figuring out what it is that we want to put down in the lower section. And me and Jose were talking, we are thinking about doing kind of like a park, like a city park. So as you guys can see, I kind of started looking and developing what I thought would work great. I have a little fountain area here. We're kind of measuring out where we want to put certain additional items in this park. Do we want it to have kind of like some vendors, maybe like a farmer's market? I'm not sure, but you can also notice because it is a park, the park is also going to require probably some trees. And I started testing out some tree builds. If you remember from one of our parts hall, I do have a tree that kind of incorporates those large leaves that are kind of like stacked on top of each other. We got a number of boxes of those. And then I'm also looking at these little, what they call like a lollipop tree. So smaller trees and kind of some variation of colors. But I think that the plan for this is a central park, kind of like a city park area, and who knows what else we're going to go ahead and put into it.
Now, when it comes to the trees, I really like the uniformity of the lollipop and then just the other one being kind of frazzled and has a bunch of edges. I think that's going to be really cool to have maybe multiple in certain areas. It just really gives you a bunch of texture. So, very, very cool. Good job.
A couple of other things that we did since our last video, if you guys notice here on some of our modulars, um, we did fix the colored bricks. So you'll see here on some of the corner pieces like the brick bank and sanctum sanctorium, we did fix some of that in some of those pieces and the mill's plating for that. Something else that I have been working on in the city is what I call my drink empire. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, what is that? If you guys can see here, this is the start of my drink empire that is going to go ahead and take over the city. So if you want a refreshing beverage, this is the start. And then you'll notice here the cool little printed part that we did here for the cold drinks. And you're probably thinking to yourself, only cold drinks? Well, we live in Texas. It's usually very hot here or pretty warm, so we're good with just nothing but cold drinks. As we progress with our city build, you're going to start seeing this drink empire pop up all over our city.
If you saw our previous video, you would have seen the full build of the elevators that's going to be taking people over to City Square. Now, if you didn't, links are always in the description below, but also, boom, here is the thumbnail for that video so you can go ahead and find it. Okay, so camera lady, if you could just zoom in over here. So, again, if you haven't seen it, what we wanted to do was to build a connection from the garage to the city center, and obviously you're going to need some elevators for that. So, went ahead and chose some different colors to change things up a little bit so it's not all the same light gray. We have some really cool stories here. The shout out to Mork and Mindy over there by the flower wall. Obviously, a little bench, the same trash can design that we had in the garage. And I think everything, in my opinion, came out great, especially because of those pops of color, really helped to add a lot of character to just a little tiny build, little tiny base plate. But look at all that we were able to do with that. So now I'm going to go ahead and place it across from Michelle's base plate, which also adds more color. It's going to look great. And also, Michelle mentioned earlier that we were waiting on the cupcakes. So now that we have the cupcakes and all of that, we can go ahead and snap everything together because pretty much there might be some very small, minute changes, but it's not going to be anything ridiculous to be changed. But yeah, look at this. I think it came out great. Yeah, I think it fits in. It doesn't look abnormal. It's just enough. It doesn't go overboard. Yeah. And I don't know if the camera is going to be able to catch it or not because there's so many things in the shot, but you can look through the elevator out to the city. And again, I think that just looks like a really great shot.
So, as those of you who are in the process or have built a Lego city, you guys know that things can always change, right? So, as we're developing our kind of like city core more and more, we're finding that maybe the lighthouse being placed right here in the corner is probably not going to work for us. So, Jose and I are actually thinking of adding just one more tabletop to the very end of the city area, and maybe potentially kind of like a deep water area that we can incorporate the lighthouse to, so that the lighthouse is looking at the city from the opposite perspective, and maybe being able to kind of incorporate a few more Lego sets that we have in kind of like that deep water area. So you're gonna have to stay tuned to find out what that's gonna look like.
And also, if you haven't seen the very, very first video, we showed off what tabletops that we ended up getting. And by the way, those tabletops are actually going to end up being clearanced out and they're going to get rid of them. I don't know what they're going to replace them with or what. So we actually went and bought another one because, again, we want to use the same tabletops because that would look kind of weird. So, anyways, I'm going to put the information on the screen. If you're wanting to get these tabletops because they do make a really good base for a city, yeah, I really honestly think you should grab them now because who knows how long they're going to have them for. But yes, I think got some stuff done.
Yeah, we're making progress.
We hope you enjoyed this city update. And if you did, do us a favor and go down there and hit this video with a like. Also, if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Let us know in the comment section below. How are we doing? What did you think about what we have? Did you see the previous video with the elevator? And how cool does the garage look in that shot? Oh, it's amazing. Let us know in the comment sections below. As always, while you're out there looking for Lego, searching for that perfect set for you, be safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.